Let's take a look at the Microstrategy stock, which is experiencing a significant decline. We'll dissect the report it released last week. I'll also show you the volatility in the market, particularly in regards to Bitcoin. We'll examine the trading volume in Bitcoin as well. Additionally, I'll show you the market forecast for this company and touch on 3D volatility. I'll also share thoughts on Bitcoin and overall sentiments regarding this company. Let's start from the beginning today. The stock is down by 17%, while Bitcoin is only down by 6%, hovering around levels seen on March 20th. Just yesterday, the company released its report. Let's take a look at it. I won't go over the entire report because that's tedious. The most important points are that Microstrategy continues to buy Bitcoins. In the last quarter, it purchased 25,000 Bitcoins, bringing its total to almost 220,000 Bitcoins. I also can't help but draw your attention to the fact that the company reported a loss with a net loss of $53 million. There's nothing particularly good here. There are lots of forecasts, lots of everything. It's interesting, but what really concerns me is one thing. Instead of closing its position on Bitcoin, Microstrategy has been increasing it. Honestly, I don't quite understand it either. Why would they do that? Especially considering that Bitcoin has been at its historical highs for the past few months. Literally, it reached $73,000, and at that moment, Microstrategy was buying additional Bitcoins. I absolutely don't get it. They could have started selling Bitcoins because Bitcoin was at its historical peak. Positive news was coming out, so I don't understand why they were buying Bitcoins. In my view, it's a strategic mistake on the company's part, but I'll come back to that a little later. Let's look at the correlation. Just a reminder, the company now owns 220,000 Bitcoins, and as we can see, its correlation with Bitcoin was very high, and in the past few months, it has gone out of control. Microstrategy has grown much higher and much faster than Bitcoin because the stock rises and falls correspondingly faster than the cryptocurrency. I also can't ignore the presentation given by the company's head. I won't insert excerpts from the presentation. I'd like to, but I'm afraid I'll get a strike for copyright infringement. So briefly, the entire presentation revolved around Bitcoin forecasts. What would happen if Bitcoin rose to $100,000, $150,000, $250,000, and so on? That's what they were all about. Honestly, I absolutely don't understand where these astronomical figures come from. $250,000 per Bitcoin. Why not immediately predict the price of Bitcoin in $500,000 or $1 million? Heck, why not be generous and go for $1 billion or $1 trillion? Why not indeed? Let's say Bitcoin is worth $1 trillion and your company is valued at $500 trillion. Why not voice such fantasies? But these are absolutely fantasies, especially crafted to attract investors, simply to trap investors. That's my opinion again. I agree, but not everyone will like it. Many may disagree with me, but again, I've talked about this a lot in this video. In that video predicting the stock's crash, the collapse awaiting the stock, I haven't changed my investment positions. You can check them completely. I clearly explained there why I expect this and so forth, my friends. Absolutely happened and will happen again. Of course, volatility and options pointed to it. But we'll come back to that a little later. But first, I want to ask this question. If Bitcoin is worth $250,000, that everything is so good, then why are you selling shares? I'm addressing the company's director who spoke. Why are you selling shares? That's a fair question. Even over the past few days, you've been selling shares. So in your presentation, you talk about how everything will be fine, how everything is wonderful, yet at the same time, over the past few months actively, every day, look at this, he sold stocks every day and withdrew $5 million each time. Look at the huge sales literally every day. He sells shares of this company every single day. And at the same time, they talk about how great the company is, how Bitcoin will be worth $250,000, my friends, many like this director. But I absolutely don't understand this. To me, it's just not fair and simply unjust to the investors and traders who bought this stock in hope and listened to you while you're just withdrawing capital, taking money out of this company. And overall, of course, I don't really like this company's policy at all. Okay, as we'll come back to this a little later, let's start with volatility for now. What's happening here? Our volatility is at 100%. Actually, even with such a big drop, our volatility isn't increasing, of course, per se. This indicates that the decline could well continue because the derivatives market isn't reacting to this drop. Let's look at the volatility smile. And as we see, towards the call options, towards the increase, volatility doesn't increase at all. It's a straight line, but towards the put options, towards the decrease, volatility starts to rise. Again, investors, traders are more betting that the stock will fall. And based on these data, among others, I made my assumptions in the previous videos. The white line represents implied volatility, and the gray line represents historical volatility. As we can see at the moment, implied volatility is higher than historical values, especially on the far end of the curve. On the near end, the situation is slightly different. I always tell you that you can trade not only with the underlying asset, such as stocks, but also with volatility. Let me show you how to do it. We input volatility here, talk about a decrease, set it at 20%, and see what the AI. As you can see, there are many different strategies here. We can choose one, after which we are offered to sell a put option and a call option with the same strike for $1,100 in August. In 2024, this bet is on decreasing volatility, but I strongly advise against opening this strategy because it's very risky. I wouldn't even open it in my life just like that. I'll show you a strategy that you can open a little later. Let's also look at the volume of trading options, what's happening here. First, we have a very large volume, concentrated at the level of $3,800, $2,500, and $2,100. As for put options, they are distributed more evenly. The situation with volumes is as follows. Also, let's look at the 3D volatility, which tells us all the information about volatility on dates and expirations on all strikes. This graph helps me in the future to create sound positions. To understand where MicroStrategy will move, you need to see where Bitcoin will move. But again, I remind you of my philosophy. I don't know where the market will go. I can't predict price movements. I act solely according to mathematical expectation and sound portfolio management. What I mean is, your main task to make money is to build a portfolio correctly. No matter where the options go, you earn, and also it's essential to consider the risk to reward ratio. I've always told you in previous videos that the risk to reward ratio is not in favor of the investor. Let's look at and listen to this. The risk to reward ratio at the moment is not favorable. This is where you need to understand clearly. And again, at the moment, I absolutely adhere to the opinion that the risk-to-reward ratio is not in favor of the investor. The situation is quite dangerous. But what can be done here? Let me show you. Here's an interesting strategy I've developed. As we can see, if the stock, for example, rises to $1,400, we'll earn $45,000. If the stock goes down to $900, we'll earn $26,000. As we can see, no matter where the stock goes, we earn. But I absolutely do not recommend opening this strategy to you because it involves selling uncovered options. If there is a sharp movement in one direction or another, you can lose a lot of money. This strategy needs to be managed. That is, you need to buy an option at some point, sell an option at some point. The strategy is really complex, but what I showed you is purely logical. What I do, that is, I don't just buy and sell these stocks. I build well-managed positions, again, based on the risk-to-profit ratio, based on mathematics. Everything is maximally calculated, and by creating such strategies, you will earn in both directions. As I have always said in all my previous videos, be sure to watch them to understand everything. There I also analyze in detail what I do, so that's why I say I don't know where the stock will go and no one can predict it. Only well-managed strategies work here. So where can these Bitcoin stocks go? I've already said that if Bitcoin grows to $100,000, then undoubtedly MicroStrategy can rise to $3,000. Yes, $3,800. I also said that, but I also said that I don't believe Bitcoin will grow to this level in the near future. Again, assuming that a recession may occur at the end of 2024. And of course, this can worsen the situation with cryptocurrency and the stock market again. I have a more bearish outlook on cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin. And I remind you that back in mid-2022, Bitcoin reached $10,000, while MicroStrategy could have been subjected to a margin call, which is also something not to forget. Nobody is talking about this now, but it's entirely possible that it could happen. This means the company could simply go bankrupt at some point. So investing in this company without hedging, without management, without options, is very dangerous. But again, I am by no means advocating for any action, just explaining what is happening. But there's another risk here that shouldn't be forgotten: the weekend risk. What I mean is, the exchange closes, everything seems fine, and then on Saturday or Sunday, Bitcoin starts to drop, say 10% or 15% over 2 days, or even 20%. This could be due to anything: a conflict in the world, a political decision, or simply a fund going bankrupt. It could happen because of anything. And what could happen on Monday after the market opens, considering that this company moves faster than Bitcoin, meaning it has a multiplier? I'm just afraid to imagine what could happen to this company. It could just drop by 50% in an instant. Yes, I'm saying it correctly. As we can see, it has already fallen 50% from its highs. And I recorded a video about this here when it was at its historical highs. Yeah, crazy. Then in the comments they laughed at me, but now we're already down by 50%. And I'm telling you, we'll drop another 50% if such a situation with Bitcoin happens over the weekend. And the problem is that everything can start rolling like a snowball from here because, again, margin calls may come in for this company, and the question is, are you ready to take such risks? It's just scary. Again, this risk cannot be calculated in any way. That's why it's just scary to own this company just like that, without analysis, without skilled position management. I'm just afraid to own it. So let me show you what the market predicts for this company. As we can see, the market predicts that the price will most likely be around $950 by May 30th. So in a month, again, the market tells you that the price will drop for this company. Let's see what the market predicts, for example, for July, for mid-July. And as we can see, just look at how the probability is shifted to the $750 level. So the highest probability is that we will be at the $750 level if we look, for example, at September. Here the probability shifts all the way down to $500 again. My friends, someone might say that the company will be worth thousands of dollars, $2,000 or $3,000, but you're just going against the market. The market is just screaming at you and saying, look, the price will drop to $500 in November or to $750 in July. The market just tells you the most dangerous thing in trading is to go against the market. Yes, you may beat the market once or twice, you may beat the market, but in the long run, the market is always right. You just have to understand and remember that in the long run, The market is always right. You can't argue with the market. But another question is, why argue with it? Why argue with the market when you can go along with it? So if the market is just showing you where the price will go, my friends, there's nothing magical here. You can just watch and act along with the market. All the secrets have long been revealed. Everything is there. Everything is already laid out. The price is already predicted by the market. So if you act like the market, you'll just make money and leave your job. You'll just ride along with the market. I always tell you this, remember this, it's the most important thing. So the most important thing, of course, remains open to me. Why is the company buying Bitcoin at such a high price? It's just incomprehensible to me. Also, if everything is so good, then why is the director selling these shares? Why is he selling these shares in such large quantities? Even though all the presentations talk about some magical $250,000 per Bitcoin. Moving on to the third question, why is the market itself predicting such a significant drop? Where could we possibly end up? Where could we be in 2025, my friends? The market indicates that the stock may possibly be around $150, meaning the market is very, very pessimistic about this company. The market suggests that we might even reach bankruptcy. So think for yourselves what to do with this. But if you're tired of losing money, I suggest you watch my previous videos. Soon I'll be opening a portfolio from scratch, where I'll start earning from the very beginning. I'll have $0 in the account, and we'll start earning together from scratch. I'll show you how I buy stocks, what I sell. I've already prepared an Excel file where I'll explain everything in detail, why I own certain stocks. This Excel will be completely open access, everything will be transparent, and it will be absolutely free. That's the most important thing. I won't hide anything. My goal is to educate you, not to profit off you. I'm completely against having subscribers pay for anything. Everything will be transparent and free. So watch the video, subscribe so you don't miss the start of this legendary experiment where we'll intelligently manage positions. I'll surpass all indexes and explain it in detail. Good luck to everyone.